Hi.
Hello.
I'm literally wearing pajamas for this episode.
It sounds very comfortable.
Well, you're basically in pajamas.
Not really. Are these pajamas? I've got joggers and a hoodie on.
Yeah, it's pretty much pajamas.
Maybe for you.
So earlier this week, we recorded a Patreon episode that is all about how we're trying for a baby. More the medical side of things. The testing that we're having done, the results of that testing, our baby journey the first time, and kind of how that's looking this time around. So if that interests you, head over to our Patreon. We wanted to do it for that platform because then we could be totally unfiltered and just go into all the detail. And we really do go into all the detail.
We do. You should do it when edited as well, so you can see all the bickering.
So this is kind of a part 2 / it's also just good as a standalone episode, I think, because we're going to go into different ways that we're trying to increase our chances of conceiving naturally. As we talked about in that Patreon episode, we have some challenges. We know that. And so we're kind of doing everything that we can in our diet, our lifestyle, everything to increase our chances to make it happen naturally.
We've done lots of research, so if you're in the same boat, this is a shortcut. You can see the highlights.
Yeah, that's a good thing to say. We've done lots of research, and I'll put all the resources in the show notes, but obviously we're just a couple of old Joes scouring the internet.
Yeah, we're piggybacking and standing on shoulders here.
No, I'm more so saying we're not doctors or anything like that. We literally just scoured the internet and came up with a plan, scoured other people's, people who are professionals and took tips from them. But yeah, that's just the caveat, I guess. Let me just get into my notes here because this episode I had to make the most notes because I also wanted it to be exact because this is literally the program we're going to follow over the next 90 days. I say 90 days because I guess sperm has a life cycle of 3 months. And so we want to see if this has an impact there. We want to see if this has an impact on my fertility as well. So we're going to get all the testing done. And I mean, obviously, this will go past 90 days, but I guess in the immediate 90 days, we really want to focus on kind of this plan that we've set out. So I just wanted it to be, I wanted to get it right. I wanted to look at everything that I wanted to look at before writing it down and talking about it because this is what we'll be doing.
Yeah, and they're generally good lifestyle changes anyway. It's not like an intense crash course or juice diet. It's just that there's some good changes to make anyway in here. It sounds quite intense, but actually it's just a few tweaks we're making.
So, as I said, we talked about in the Patreon episode, like the frequency, all that kind of detail. We talked about that over there. But today's episode is mainly a plan for us over the next, 3 months, but even longer than that. It's just after 3 months, we'll probably get more testing done to see if it's had an impact. Probably a little bit more than 3 months to be on the safe side.
Yeah, and the list sounds quite intense of all the stuff that we're going to add to, but it's not really. They're all good lifestyle changes to make, and it's just kind of little tweaks here and there. Lots of it we do anyway.
Yeah, and I actually don't think it's intense in a way. It is specific, and there's lots to think about, so I guess there is lots of planning that would go into it, but you and I have been doing like intense gym workouts and upping the protein in our diets, and that is more intense in that it's like a little bit more of a restrictive diet versus this is not restrictive. It's have all the food, just make sure it's the right food.
It's restrictive in some ways.
In what ways?
Like no processed foods, go organic wherever possible.
To me, that's not restrictive. Like restrictive would be calorie counting and restricting calories. Like you can eat lots of food.
Form of restriction. You can also have restriction by taking food out of your diet, can't you?
Yeah, I just find that if you've ever done a diet where you are eating like lots of whole foods and they're good for you, you don't feel restricted. It's more when you're on a calorie deficit. That's when you feel.
Okay, if that's what you mean, yeah, sure.
Anyway, so today we're going to go into a couple of different factors that we're going to kind of majorly focus on. So environment, that includes kind of toxins in our environment, toxins we're ingesting, diet, which obviously we've touched on, physical health, so that includes like sleep, stress, exercise, supplements, and then any other tools that we've picked up that we're going to incorporate.
Okay, so the first area on environment and toxins for me, well, actually, what we've already ruled out is the doctors say smoking and alcohol are the first things they ask you. And I don't smoke, you don't smoke, and we don't drink anymore. But alcohol probably affected us first time round more than we knew. But cutting out smoking and reducing or eliminating alcohol is step number one for most people. We've sort of already done that. So the first thing I'm actually changing is around heat. And you need to keep your testicles at a lower temperature than the rest of your body. So no more sauna at the gym, no more hot tubs. This is probably the thing that I'm most envious of. I like the longer days at the gym where you can have a hot tub and a sauna.
Yeah, I really like, and obviously sauna has so many health benefits. It is annoying. And I was listening to the Huberman Lab episode today, and he did say you can like put an ice pack on it and do it that way, but
That's
it's just like
too much effort for me. I'm not going to do that.
It's more like how much risk do you want to introduce? Like, if we're going to all this effort, do you want to accidentally kill all your sperm through the sauna?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just probably not going to bother. And then there's much smaller things like don't put the heated car seats on. Don't work on your laptop on your lap, or put your phone, sort of sit on your phone, which I do sometimes. Just tuck it away under there.
Mm-hmm. And things like cycling, not good.
Even sitting down for extended periods of time. So if you've got a really sedentary job, I should get up and move around a little bit more, go for a walk, stretch the legs, get some air in there.
Restrictive clothing, it said.
Yeah, let's get some new underwear.
I'm not sure if you'll have to look into that more. I don't.
It's come up a lot.
In the Huberman Lab episode, he said there's no research to support that.
Well, this is pretty consistent, isn't it? Throughout of all the research I did, there's some universal truths like smoking and alcohol, and certain elements of diet and whatever. And then there's a bunch of areas where one study shows it has a positive effect, another study shows it doesn't have an effect, it's a slightly different group. And then some there's just no research to prove it, but people have made changes and they've seen an impact. It's the classic case of you're probably going to change 20 or 30 things. You can't specify which one really worked, but you know everything that you did. And there's lots of stories like that.
Yeah, so we'll do the main things. I think, it's not like your underwear are, what do you call them? It's not like they're cycling shorts that are like super, it's not like they're wetsuit material that are like compressor shorts.
Who wears those for underwear?
Some people wear those for like racing and stuff.
Oh, for racing maybe, yeah, okay.
Or even, anyway, so it's not like that, anything like that. But I think it's pretty obvious, but you have to obviously think about it in your day to day.
Yeah.
So then the other ones are plastics, which I didn't even really think about. I feel like not drinking out of BPA, or BPA free was huge when I was growing up. It was the big thing, like BPA free plastic and not eating out of plastic and whatever, not getting plastic in your food. And I kind of forgot about it for a long time. So we listened to a podcast on Diary of CEO with a fertility expert, and she brought this up as like a key thing with fertility, and I've seen it elsewhere as well. It basically can dysregulate your hormones, which makes sense. So she talks about just the toxins in plastic. So I basically have to do an overhaul. There's just a couple of things that we always use, like our protein shakers, and I can actually taste the plastic in my drink.
Really?
Uh-huh. I'm way more sensitive than you to this stuff. I can also taste the dishwasher tablet on our dishes. That's
insane to me.
Really? It's insane to me that you can't taste that.
You can taste dishwasher soap on our plates and bowls.
It just has a weird taste sometimes, especially when you put the plastic things in the dishwasher. That's when I can especially taste it. It's like a combination. Yeah, there's things like protein shakers. Tupperwares, which a lot of ours are glass, but there's some that aren't. There's a lot of things that we have, like we have the metal water bottles, but it's just making sure, and it's also probably not buying as much like plastic water bottles, that kind of thing. And then there's the other stuff. So there's like the kind of big toxins in the home, and this is kind of going above and beyond, but I just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can, because I've, listened to some resources, and they say like even if you have certain toxins in your home, there will be a low level toxicity, which is insane. But yeah, I think the first port of call is if you have any like pesticides or herbicides or anything, get rid of those, which I don't have any. But then it's things like in your laundry room, like what's your laundry soap looking like? What's your cleaning supplies looking like?
Hair products, shaving products.
Yeah, then
moisturizers.
I think the cleaning products and laundry products are like way more important because they're spread across the whole house and they're in everything. And then yeah, you can get even more in the weeds and look at all that kind of stuff. Like perfumes, really not good. Basically anything with fragrance. Fragrance is this mysterious thing that they don't have to say what's actually in it. It could be like thousands and thousands of ingredients, but all they have to put is fragrance. And so it's kind of a hidden toxic thing. In the UK, we have this kind of toxic-free cleaning brand called Method. And I was looking into that today, and they use fragrance. And so it's not actually as toxic-free as they kind of market. It's like a fake marketing.
We're going to have to use like vinegar and lemon juice on everything.
Yeah, you can use distilled white vinegar, but you have to be careful of that with infants because it can be like it can affect their lungs.
Okay, so we're down to water.
No, there's other things.
Okay.
Did I write them down? Like baking soda, Castile's soap is one. You can use white vinegar, you just have to be somewhat careful. Like instead of dishwasher tablets, you can use like lemon juice, apparently. So I am gonna look at it because honestly, the dishwasher tablets, I can taste that on our dishes, and I've thought for a while like this is not on, and I just can't imagine what I am ingesting and what we're all ingesting when we use that stuff. So we're just gonna do a bit of a detox of our house. On the positive side, I do have like a veggie garden going right now that's totally organic and really full of, so many vitamins and nutrients because they're just straight from the garden and I'm growing them. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of work to do there. Yeah, that's the main stuff. It's going to be a big one. I'll do a video about like all the shit I'm throwing away because it's going to be a lot of stuff. I think I was just really amazed at how just having it in a box in your house can create like a low level toxic atmosphere. And this might not be impacting us, and it might be massively impacting us, and we won't really know until we detoxify the house. Mm-hmm. We did this a little bit when Violet came into the scene. We basically got rid of a bunch of toxic stuff. We made sure that all her body wash is toxic free and all that kind of stuff. But we kind of have let it slide, and it's just do an overhaul.
It's easy to creep back in when you just have to pick something up from the store at that time and you just pick up what you can.
Yeah.
Even I swear some things have changed as well because the hair product that I specifically chose is now rating bad on the app that we use for toxins.
That happens sometimes. I don't know why. This like obviously formulas.
Well, yeah, they changed it. Actually, I think I ordered a slightly different product. That might be it too.
Okay. So, and I mean also we are gonna get kind of like a veggie wash system. So when we do buy products or fruits and veggies that aren't organic, which almost everything we buy is organic now, because I recently just switched it over. I never used to buy all organic, and then I just decided I'm going to start ordering all our groceries and just ordering all organic. And the reason, and the cost actually kind of evens out because I'm not in the shop looking at all the products, buying extra stuff, but I am buying the more expensive organic vegetables. So the cost kind of evens out. Does that make sense?
That feels like girl math to me.
Well, at the end of the day, it is what it is. If I go in the shop, I guess I could buy non-organic and shop online. That would be the cheapest. But I switched to online and I bought everything organic, and I'm much more specific about what I get. and it's just evened out. It hasn't increased the cost of our groceries.
So we're buying less, but the stuff that we do buy is
high quality.
High quality organic.
Yeah. The next section is physical health. Do you want to do this one?
Well, physical health is a bit blurred as well because it's not specifically this is what you need to do in terms of workouts per week or calories burned. It's just you need to maintain.
Well, no, that's the point. That's way too stressful for this kind of... You're supposed to keep it low stress. Like, you have to stay physically active, but you're not training for a marathon or anything like that. But if you spent an hour in the gym every day, that's fine.
Because that's going to be stressful on your body, and your brain will allocate resource elsewhere rather than on reproduction.
Yeah, I've definitely been in a situation where I was running excessively and my period went away.
Yeah.
So you just have to be, I don't know. But I still exercise a lot now, but I guess it's not as intense and stressful. I used to kind of force myself to run 60, 70K a week. I still go to the gym. Like today I went to the gym for 2 hours and I did an hour walk. It's not like so like an hour walking at the gym, an hour exercising, and then like a 45-minute dog walk. So it's not like I'm chilling out, but...
No, that's quite a lot for your average Joe.
Yeah, it's quite a lot, but I think it's low cortisol exercise. Like, it's weight training, it's hill walking, and then it's walking outside. It's not like pounding the pavement running. It's not doing a HIIT workout. It's very different. Yeah,
so it can't be stressful, intense workouts, but equally you can't be sat around doing anything. You need to maintain some exercise in your life. Because I know BMI is such a poor indicator of physical health, but that's the first thing doctors will look at. Are you overweight? Because that will impact your reproductive system. So you have to be healthy.
Well, no, but the reason is because you have to reduce inflammation in your body, and obviously exercise helps with that to keep your hormones balanced. But then the second reason is if you're not at a healthy weight, obviously if you're underweight, you won't be fertile because your body won't put its resources towards making a baby. If you're overweight, your body produces a lot of extra estrogen, and the body sees that and thinks it doesn't have to produce estrogen to help the egg mature. I think that was the reasoning.
Oh, you're more expert than you give yourself credit for.
I just retain the facts.
Very good.
So then stress is a big one within physical health too. And this comes up obviously it's kind of like, oh, stress, but it comes up as really, really important. And so I think we saw that and just kind of realized we need to make meditation, stress reducing exercises more of a priority. And for us, for me, that's definitely meditation. What is that for you?
I think I'm going to use meditation to try to help reduce stress, but even walks outside, and I think the cold plunge helps me.
The cold plunge too.
But yeah, I wouldn't say meditation is the thing I go to reduce stress right now, but I'm going to do it every single day over these next 90 days and see what impact it has. Yeah,
I think, you probably don't meditate that often, and so it's like, it doesn't feel like a chill thing to just go do.
Exactly. The one time in my life where I was doing it regularly, I felt more in control and lower levels of anxiety through the day.
Yeah. I did it today and it felt amazing. I haven't been doing it as regularly, so I'm looking forward to focusing on it. And you mentioned the cold plunge, and I've also I also heard in the Human Run Lab episode that can actually help regulate your testes temperature, which is kind of crazy. I guess to keep them cool. I don't know. That's what was in that episode.
That makes sense, because if the cold plunge is bringing your whole body temperature down, it then gets back to its natural level. So whilst your body goes up to, what is it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyway, but then your testes are 2 degrees lower, 1 or 2 degrees lower, I think. So they just, I guess they rebalance themselves once they've been brought down.
I don't know. That sounds sensible to me.
Yeah.
But we love the cold plunge too. We just yesterday we had to go buy 15 bags of ice, and we put it in our cold plunge, and it got to a decent
Because it's so hot here, we have to get loads of
It's
ice.
pretty hot in the UK. We have a big cold plunge. But, that's not, how much was it to buy 15 bags of ice?
£20.
It's not a bad option. Like, you don't have to cold plunge every day. Like, what we're kind of doing right now is yes, we cold plunge in the morning, but it's sometimes not so cold where you're like, ooh, like, this is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
So instead, what we do is and what I think we'll keep doing more is once a week, spend 20 pounds, buy a bunch of ice, or put a whole bunch of ice in your freezer or whatever, and then have like a sesh. So we did kind of 5 minutes each, and then we did another 5 minutes just to really
do it 2 or 3 times in a row.
Yeah, really milk that ice bath that you've put together.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is sleep.
The things on those podcasts there was an example of a guy that had his sperm analysed, and it was like terrible count, quality, everything, but they were sick. And then once they'd got over the fever, 2 weeks later, maybe I don't know if 2 weeks works, but anyway, next sperm test they had when they were healthy, absolutely normal. So your body obviously fluctuates and prioritises what it needs the most. So if you're sick, it's not going to be diverting its resources to producing sperm.
That's interesting. So I guess that makes sense too in terms of why sleep is so important.
Exactly,
because if you're not sleeping well, then your body is just not going to focus on creating like good quality swimmers.
Exactly. If you've absolutely shredded it at the gym, then your body needs to just focus on rebuilding your muscles or whatever's going on in your brain that you process that day, and you haven't got enough time to process it. It's just not going to get time to get down that hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, so I mean, what we do here is I think we actually start from waking up a bit earlier because that's when we can fit in the meditations, the cold plunges, all these things. That's the only time we can get it in. But then we go to bed earlier too. So we do always prioritize that 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And Violet is a lot better now. So obviously if you're a new parent, sometimes this just isn't achievable. You maybe have to like sleep for longer, like go to bed earlier, wake up later. But we can actually achieve 7 to 8 hours with Violet. It's more about like maybe less screen time right before bed.
Focus on the quality of the sleep.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're into the big section, diet.
God, here comes the notepad.
So, I mean, overall with diet, it's about kind of keeping inflammation low and keeping your hormones balanced with really high vitamin, high antioxidant food. So the first section, the first kind of pillar is like having antioxidant-rich foods. And what that does is it increases sperm quality, decreases inflammation, increases testosterone, prevents DNA damage, supports overall health, and just has like all the vitamins that you kind of need for fertility. So I should caveat all this with, I think most people know this, but we are plant-based. And something I did look into before this episode was this whole thing about soy and estrogen. I don't know if, most people are familiar with this, but it kind of flies around sometimes that soy-based products are really full of estrogen, and that's bad, especially for men. But what I've found is that it's actually, there's no kind of research to support that. Because obviously if there really was an impact, we would change our diet if it meant we could have a baby. But I looked into it and there is no research to support that. And most fertility doctors that I've looked at their kind of research and recommendations, they actually recommend switching out at least one source of animal protein a day for a plant-based protein, whether that's tofu, which is soy-based, or beans or legumes, just because it has so many anti-inflammatory properties and it's, full of these micronutrients, different micronutrients you need. So that's just kind of a side tangent. So this diet is tailored to plant-based because that's what we are. But yeah, so antioxidant-rich foods. So it's just about like incorporating these kind of foods into our diet every meal of the day and also tracking it to see how we're getting on with the different vitamins. That's the biggest focus for us is like, are we getting our vitamins? Are we getting a big variety of food? So like different berries, like blackberries, blueberries, different nuts, like pecans, and even dark chocolate, like dark leafy vegetables, leeks, onions, garlic, artichokes, red cabbage, goji berries, beets, beans, different spices like ginger, turmeric.
These are all antioxidants.
These are all antioxidant-rich foods. It's really just like, I think like a lot of the time, if it's like a colorful vegetable, it's full of antioxidants. Things like we're having our morning ginger and mint tea, like getting that ginger in, and we could even add like turmeric root to that you can get from the supermarket. There's all these different things that, it's just like incorporating some more of these foods into our diet. Like,
there's more variety, isn't
more
it?
variety.
'Cause I think we probably have lots of that in our diet, but nuts, for example, we have Brazil nuts and walnuts in our breakfast, but we could extend that out and have some, what do you say, cashews and pecans and things like, with greens, we usually have lettuce or spinach, but we could have more kale or
we need the dark
darker
leafy greens.
So it's more, from the stuff I was reading, it's basically you need so much variety to make sure you're getting all of those vitamins, minerals, nutrients, because every plant has slightly different structures, and the research can't specify exactly what the composition of sperm and egg cells are, but they know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
If it's there, you're more likely to get a positive outcome.
For example, in tonight's dinner, I harvested a bunch of beets from our garden, and so I'm taking all those beet greens, like the stems and the leaves, and I'm chopping that up and making a stir fry with mushrooms and with some spices. And that's like, the beet greens are so dark and leafy and full of so many antioxidants and like good vitamins. It's just incorporating more different vegetables like that we wouldn't normally have. And normally you and I love just like a go-to like plant-based protein, maybe a big bowl of lettuce with some spinach, some nutritional yeast, which has lots of B12 in it, and maybe some lemon juice, which is, the citrus is good for iron absorption.
Yeah.
So like we eat healthy, but it's like not having that same meal every night, but switching it up with different veg.
Exactly. We'd usually throw mushrooms and broccoli on there. But when you have some onions, or I heard broccoli sprouts are actually better for you than heads of broccoli.
I think it's just a variety. It's having that one night and then something else the next.
Yeah.
And so antioxidant-rich foods. And I don't hate it. Like, it's good for your skin too. It's good overall to have that. So the second kind of section is, I've found that there are some key kind of nutrients overall for fertility, and then some that are specific to men, some that are specific to women. So zinc is good for both of us, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of the top plant-based sources. So for zinc, we actually drink AG1, Athletic Greens. It's pretty popular. We get a little bit of all these vitamins from this. It's kind of like our daily supplement. But so we get, that from our AG1 and from a bunch of these other ones that I'll list. But, pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, it's like you said, it's just that variety of seeds and nuts gives a lot of good vitamins and then also fats. B12, which, we get from nutritional yeast, which we actually do eat every single day on our salads. So we get a good amount from that. Folate, again, the dark leafy greens, the cruciferous veg. Omega-3s are really, really important. And you mentioned, like in our breakfast, we have walnuts and chia seeds and a Brazil nut. So the chia seeds and the walnuts give omega-3s and omega-6s, which I think omega-3s actually just convert to omega-6 in your body, but it's good to kind of get both. And then the Brazil nut gives us all the selenium we need for the day, which is super important for sperm. So other sources are like flax, and like you can take an algae supplement, which we might do anyway, just because omega-3s are so important. But we do get a lot of these just because we incorporate it into our daily breakfast. And then vitamin D, we take a supplement for this. And then vitamin C is important. That's also really important for like absorbing iron, because a lot of the plant-based sources of iron are harder to absorb apparently. So if you take vitamin C with it, it helps that. So, citrus, squeezing some lemon on something, lime, broccoli, broccoli, strawberry, kiwi, things like that. And then, I mentioned, so for Matthew specifically, or for sperm health specifically, selenium. So if you have one Brazil nut a day, you'll get that. And then vitamin E, which is in tahini, sunflower seeds, spinach, just like so many different nuts and vegetables. And for me, iron is really important. So tofu, soy products, legumes, whole grains, nuts. And then
Do you know how much of these you're supposed to have on a daily basis?
I have like my daily recommendations on my tracker app, but we need to add that in. And for this episode, I am going to make a downloadable file if you want our plan that we're like our fertility plan. So
there's so much information.
There's so much information.
But this can be a shortcut too, because you've done so much research on this, and I have.
Yeah, and I can obviously include like where I've gotten all this. And then there's this thing called choline, which if you're not plant-based, like eggs are a big source, but for us, shiitake mushrooms, soybeans, random. But again, I'll just make sure I add like shiitake mushrooms to my grocery order.
I like shiitake mushrooms.
So that's the key kind of nutrients. And then just overall, it's about low inflammatory foods, low glycemic index foods, and high fiber. So low inflammatory, it's like no processed sugar, no processed food, no processed sugar, nothing that's going to inflame your body. That's also the reasoning behind why they suggest switching out a meat protein for a plant-based protein, because meat proteins can cause inflammation in the body. Same with dairy.
You want to avoid processed fake meats, though. They should be
100%. I mean, those are carcinogens anyway.
Soy-based. Because that's one thing I need to change, isn't it?
I guess we have
fake meat.
kind of processed soy-based things, and that has a list of ingredients that we would, we have to check that before we buy that. And then low glycemic index is like nothing that's going to make your insulin spike. I guess insulin acts the same way that kind of a hormone that helps your fertility in women, especially. So your body kind of, same thing with the estrogen. If you're overweight, your body looks at the insulin and thinks that it's already created that hormone that it needs, and so it doesn't create more, and so then it doesn't support your fertility. So making sure you don't have sugary things, starchy thing, like super uncomplex carbs like white bread. There's also hacks to lower your glycemic index. So if you have like a shot of apple cider vinegar in water before something that might spike it, if you go for a walk after dinner, all these things help lower that spike. And then high fiber, which I already focus on, but it's just so important for so many things. Like
all plants have fiber, don't they? It's quite easy to
plants,
get fiber.
beans, legumes, they all have a really good amount of fiber. Obviously, whole grains. Okay, so that is diet. In terms of supplements, there's a couple of things. So I mentioned in the key nutrients, like we do take AG1, and that gives us a little bit of a lot of the key vitamins we need. I think also you could supplement with like a prenatal for men, for women, which we will get. And we will be overkill on some of the vitamins, but I'd rather just knock them out of the park than be missing anything.
Get some expensive pea.
Yeah. So there's something that I read about called coenzyme 10. I keep seeing that come up. That basically helps egg and sperm quality function. So we'll definitely be getting that. Folic acid for men and for women helps with healthy sperm count, and then it just supports pregnancy. B12, I already mentioned, we get that through AG1 and nutritional yeast. And then that EPA DHA supplement for the omegas, we'll get that just to kind of support things along because it's so important. And is there anything else you read about?
So some of the ones I read about, so D-aspartic acid. Some studies show that increased sperm count by 100%.
Some studies show it increased by 100%. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But this is what I was saying about it depends on the subject, because it said people with normal to high testosterone who practice resistance training, which would be me, it didn't have the same impact, and in some cases it actually reduced it.
So probably not for that one then.
Yeah, probably won't go for that one. Fenugreek supplement.
I've seen that pop
And
up.
one called Testofen came up once or twice.
So are you going to get both of those?
No, so I think Testofen is an extract of fenugreek, and you shouldn't get whole fenugreek for some reason.
What's
Testofen was the
the
one that's recommended.
benefit? Do you know?
So all of these, it's sort of targeted testosterone and sperm quality. So I think it has an impact on both, but I was focusing more on sperm quality because I know my testosterone is okay. And then another couple were ashwagandha, an Indian herb. That increased count by 167%.
I've seen that, yeah.
And motility by 57%. And maca root, which is kind of known for being a libido enhancer, but it's been shown to increase sperm quality as well.
And then there's one other one I had. It's called inositol. It improves insulin sensitivity, hormone balance, and improves ovulatory function. Apparently, especially if you have PCOS, that's one that can help. That's been shown to help people with PCOS, which I don't have, but it's still something I'm going to look into. We're not really huge supplement people other than our AG1 and some of the basics, but I'm willing to kind of try it for this targeted thing just to see if it makes an impact, especially because we have the before and we're going to see the after in some of our results.
Yeah. The other thing I'm going to focus on is getting enough hydration through the day. So I'm going to get to 4 litres of water every day.
Yeah.
Because all of these chemical reactions need water in your body to work effectively.
Yeah. So that's it. So what is this going to look like? It's going to look like just having a very diverse diet, so many different fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, beans, legumes, different, plant-based protein sources. It's a very varied diet, focusing on, omegas and these healthy fats, having our daily supplements, waking up early, going to bed early so that we can get in our cold plunge, our meditation, our stress-reducing activities, while still focusing on good sleep. And having a very intense detoxification of the house and everything that we're kind of using on a regular basis, including plastics, as well as all the stuff we use, like the cleaning supplies. And, best case, it makes a difference. And worst case, it's good for us and it's not a bad thing to...
Yeah, worst case, we're a little bit healthier.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. A lot, probably. Anyway, hopefully this had some good tips for people. As I said, I'm going to make a little worksheet, not worksheet. I'm going to make a little checklist of everything we talked about today. Cheat sheet that you can download. And as I said, this is just based on resources we've collected from around the internet, but hopefully people find it useful. And obviously we'll keep you posted on how it works when we get other test results, how it's going. And if you want to hear part 1 where we talk about the more medical things that we've looked into, you can go to our Patreon. I also have a episode there about being sober, just a little bit of an ongoing series about alcohol-free living and some of the thoughts and things that we have around that. And there'll be other ongoing series there. We'll probably talk about this a bit more there. So yeah, head over to Patreon if that interests you. Otherwise, subscribe, rate the podcast. We love it. I've seen a few more followers go in on Apple Podcasts. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We love them. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, sounds good. See you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.